Hi, what's your name?
Alyssa.
Alyssa, nice to meet you, Alyssa. And then how do we get to this moment right now with you and I?
So I was just leaving yoga class, and you approached me and were kind of explaining to me a little bit about what you wanted to talk about, and here we
Yeah,
are.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just kind of approached you and told you what my channel is about and how I overcome social anxiety. So I use this method from dialectical behavioral therapy. Have you heard of it? Okay, so that is something where one of the methods I use kind of helps you eliminate exact possibilities, just with your thinking and thinking like, what are the odds of this happening? What are the odds of you saying yes? And then so like I approached you and you turned out to be super nice, super sweet. So that makes me really happy that I actually decided to approach you, and that's kind of where the idea comes from, kind of helping you with social anxiety and coping with it. Yeah, so how do you think I did on my approach on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being good, 1 being the worst?
I feel like you did pretty good. You were a little quiet.
Okay.
So at first I was like, I don't know,
Oh,
I feel like, yeah, just maybe projecting a little bit more,
for
like just being
sure.
a little bit, not like too loud, but just a little louder. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I mean, I feel like you did good. Like you weren't like abrasive or like, hey, do you want to do this thing?
Oh,
Like
perfect.
you were like very like you came up like very slowly, which is nice because sometimes it's like, whoa, hey, I just like.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good. Just it was really quiet. So I was
Okay.
like, wait,
So
what is
like you feel like if I was a little louder, maybe I would sound like, I
you
know what
sound
I'm
more
doing more?
confident
Okay.
in it. But like having social anxiety, which I understand, I
Mhm.
have it a little bit. Like I can sympathize. Like I understand why. Like it's like, hey,
Yeah, I'm kind of quiet when
so
I'm nervous, so
it's okay.
yeah, okay, sweet, sweet. I'm glad you told me. I like the feedback. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, do you have any goals that you're working on right now? They can be short term, long term.
It's a loaded question. I do. I mean, I have short and long term goals. I feel like spiritually, mentally, physically. So I guess it depends on what direction we're talking.
Oh,
But
okay.
I am like we just like we talked about when you approached me. I am doing like a yoga teacher training course right
Yeah.
now, and so that is like probably one of my biggest goals right now is
Oh,
like
perfect.
completing that teacher training and then hopefully becoming a yoga teacher.
Okay, sweet. Because I do like to ask, what makes you like yoga? Like, what do you do it for? Is what I should say.
Okay, I love it for the like mind and body connection. It is so good at regulating your nervous system and like getting you back into like feeling your body. Like it's one thing to like know that we have a body, but like actually feeling like what your body's doing and connecting like I was in a yoga class one time and she was like, turn your glutes on, and I was like, I don't know how to do that. Like I don't. And so like then she was like she was like kind of like pressing that muscle, which then helped me turn it on. So it like got me back into my body,
Okay.
which is really, really, cool because sometimes I feel like we get so out of touch
Yeah,
with,
that is really cool. Kind of like a pressure point kind of thing.
yeah, kind of.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, because I was gonna say with like, I love the fact that like I usually leave there and I'm sore the next day, and like it's usually a good workout along with just like being able to bring peace to your mind. It feels
Absolutely.
great to meditate in there. And
Yeah.
just the setting, and usually the teacher is like perfect with just like, putting an excellent scenario in your head. So that's really good. Okay. So how do you feel about the topic of mental health? Do you feel like
I
it's important?
100%.
For
I'm a
sure.
huge advocate of mental health. At being somebody who struggles with their own mental health, I feel like almost probably everybody has their own like mental health, especially nowadays. I feel like with our younger generation and the way
Yeah.
the world is, I feel like it's way more common, or it's just spoken about more.
Yeah,
Which is
definitely.
awesome.
I think it's something that like people usually like before they didn't bring up like often or like at all ever. And like you've seen like, people that we idolize and inspirations like actors and actresses take their own lives, and then it's kind of like wow, like, you wouldn't really be expecting it. Especially like things with like drug overdose. I think depression is a big part of what causes that as well.
Absolutely.
And I think it's like just great to at least spread awareness, and like if people talk about it more, they'll be more open to like saying what's on their mind, how they feel, if they're feeling any depression or anxiety, and that can be just better for everyone, really, I feel like.
Absolutely, and knowing that they're not alone too in
Yeah,
it, because
that's a big part
sometimes
of
it
it.
feels very isolating, you know. I remember like when I first started ever experiencing anxiety, and I was like, nobody gets it, nobody understands this, and then like finding out that like, oh, like actually everybody understands it,
Yeah.
gets it.
Definitely. Have you ever had a time in your life where someone or something gave you anxiety and, you know, you used your own method to just cope with it?
Absolutely,
Okay, great.
100%.
Do you have any of those scenarios or that you can
Oh,
think
let's
of?
see. I'm trying to think. So I feel like, so I used to actually, when my anxiety was at probably like the height of it, I went to this like anxiety support group.
Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, hearing, it was almost like a support group, kind of like an AA type style, where we would go around and we would kind of like talk about our anxiety and like, you know, like triumphs that we had during the week and maybe some stuff that we could work on. But there was a person in there who was actually speaking about, you know, one of their things that like really brought them a lot of anxiety, which for some reason that thing wouldn't give me anxiety, but it gave me anxiety hearing about it. Like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
just like, I don't know if it was like hearing the anxiety in their voice or like how, while they described it, put me in that moment. But then that was when I had to use like the discernment of like, this isn't mine, like
Yeah.
that is somebody else's, and like having to separate myself from that, like energetically and also just like mentally, like that's their thing.
I
you
have
know?
felt that before, you know. It must have been like pretty hard on them if you actually felt that, though. You know, you just kind of have to tell yourself, you know, it's not happening to me. You know,
Exactly.
yeah.
And then too, it's like that it's not real. Like I there was a quote one time that somebody was telling me about, and it was like basically it was like, because like anxiety is a lot of like fear, and so they like used like an acronym for fear, and it was like false events appearing, or false experiences appearing real.
Okay.
And it spells out fear. And then like when I was like, yeah, exactly, like
That
anxiety,
sounds,
a
that's
lot
a
of
perfect way to put it.
yeah, anxiety a lot of the time is like us, I don't want to say making it up because it feels so real, but it's a false experience appearing real.
Yeah, exactly. That is so true. That is so true. So it sounds like you've had like, you know, a really good experience with like, you know, handling it and, you know, seeking, whether or not you needed it or someone else did, like seeking help and like finding people who are open to speaking about it, because it's not something that you hear about every day.
Absolutely.
Is there someone that you admire most in your interpersonal circle that you go to for like support or comfort?
Definitely my therapist.
Therapist? Okay, so you have a therapist.
Yes, I
Okay.
do. She's probably my number one. Like,
That is really great.
I mean, I have like family and friends, obviously, that like get it too. But it's nice, I feel like, with a therapist because it's so unbiased, you know?
Yep.
And it's like, it's hard to sometimes go to your peers, and sometimes it's hard to go to family too, because family can be, because they know you so well, they can be a little bit harsher. Or
Yeah,
not,
they can be,
Not
yeah.
as not understanding, but it's just a different relationship. And so I feel like my therapist really approaches it in a very like good way.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I feel like with family, especially if you go to like your parents, they might be a little judgmental or not understand where you're coming from. So it's like you try to go to them for comfort, but then they try and give you advice on what you should do instead of what you're doing. And it's like, oh, that's not what I was really looking for.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes it's like I wish they would ask, like, are you looking for advice, or do you just want me to listen? Because
Yeah.
sometimes it's like I just need you to listen to like my like whatever's
Exactly,
happening,
yeah.
and I don't need any advice, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And like same with like having a therapist, like I've tried therapy before, and I think it'd be better for me if I could find a therapist first that I connect with, and then like I can talk to almost like on a friendship basis, and then I feel like I'd be really open to speaking about what's on my mind with them.
Absolutely. What I love about my therapist is like she actually tells me about her life and kind of what's going on, which is nice because then it's like, oh, like she's sharing with me, so then I feel even safer to share with her. Like obviously, like we know in therapy that it's a safe space, but sometimes you need that human connection though too to really feel
Exactly.
that. So I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So, How do you obtain your happiness? Like, do you play sports? Do you have anything you like making music or art?
So my biggest thing for me is like being outside.
Okay.
Like nature, like is just like so grounding for me. So like honestly, I call them like my little mom walks, even though I'm not a mom. But I try to at least like every day like get outside and like go on a little mom walk.
I didn't realize.
Okay, I'll repeat it so then that way. But I try to do a little mom walk like every day, or at least get outside in some way, shape, or form. I feel like nature is just like my happy place.
Okay, it's really important to me too. Have you ever like tried like going on like
So aggressive.
I know. So nature trails or like maybe like hiking in the mountains, have you ever tried it?
Oh yeah, yes.
Okay.
I used to live in Montana for a little bit, and so that was like being outside hiking all the time, like having like that type of nature right at my fingertips was
That would be amazing. Yeah. I've never seen like big views like that, like you know, Arizona or just like, you know, any type of being on a mountain. I've never experienced it.
Highly recommend.
I would love to, but I'm also a little afraid of heights, but in that scenario, I don't think I would be.
It's different. Like it's different. It's not like, I don't know, like if I sit at the top of a building and look down, like my stomach will drop. Like I
Me
get
too,
that. I'm
yeah.
not really scared, but my stomach will just drop. But like when you're on a mountain, like the beauty overtakes that like fear, because you're just like in awe, and then you just climbed a mountain, like you're just like, yeah, like I climbed a mountain, I did that. So it's a different experience, I feel like. I mean, it's still like, whoa, I'm high up here, but like it's not like a ledge.
Right. I feel like, you know, it's cool, but at the same time, like climbing a mountain for me, like it has to have like stairs or like maybe a tourist spot where you can actually get up the mountain, because like I've never tried actually climbing a mountain. I feel like if you miss like one step, or like what if there's no rocks to hang on to, and like I don't know, I just haven't had much experience with that, but I'd love to try it.
I definitely recommend.
For sure. Okay. Well, do you have any takeaways so far from this?
I love the conversation. I do. Like, this is stuff that like I very much feel strongly about. So
Okay,
I love
awesome.
that like you're doing this. Like, it's really cool.
Okay, great. And then, so have you heard of neuropathy?
No, I have not. I've heard the term, but I don't really know what it means or anything.
Okay, so neuropathy is a decrease of sensitivity or malfunction of your nervous system within your hands and feet. It can cause a numbing or a tingling sensation, and so that's something I like to spread awareness about, because you can either develop that through sports or you can just develop it over time with age, and a lot of people do not discuss this, so it's just something that I like to talk about with people. Have you heard of neuromas?
Neuromas? No.
So that is when you get compressed nerves between your toes, actually, and that is something that can be relieved. It's nothing that will need like surgery or anything. But for the next part, would you mind taking your shoes off?
Sure.
Okay, great, thank you.
Do you want me to be barefoot or myself?
If you could.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. And then, would you mind just setting them up here for a moment?
My feet? Oh my god, okay.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm a bartender, so my feet are terrible.
Oh, don't worry about it. They look great. Sorry, I'm gonna have to bring my backpack up here for
No, you're
support.
okay.
Okay, cool. Okay, so when I talk about like heel spurs, have you heard of them?
Yes.
Okay, great. Do you know what they are?
I think I do. Like, I know it's like a sharp pain that's obviously like in your
Yes.
heel.
Yep.
I don't know exactly like anatomy wise like what's happening, but
Okay. So that occurs when calcium deposits build up on the bottom of your heel bone, and often it doesn't cause pain itself, but it can irritate your plantar fascia. And that can cause plantar fasciitis. So plantar fasciitis is when you have an inflammation of a thick band of tissue that runs from your heel all the way through your toes. Yeah. And then have you heard of sesamoids?
No.
So sesamoids are like two pea-shaped bones that you have lodged underneath the tendon of the ball of your foot, and they help with mobility and moving actually. So like things like golf, running, exercising anyway can put strain on them, but that's something that can be relieved by like. Okay.
Yeah, it's just.
You've never experienced anything like this before?
No, absolutely
okay, for
not.
sure, for sure. Have you ever had your significant other like massage your feet or like anything like that?
Yeah, in the past, yeah.
In the past, okay, so it's not like something that's not like hasn't happened before or just.
It's not something happening on the regular.
Oh, okay. Do you mind crossing them one more time again? Okay, gotcha. But you would let your significant other like touch your feet, caress your feet, like rub your feet. That would be okay with you?
Yeah, I mean, if my feet were like really sore, it's not something that like I'm really into.
Nothing that you're into?
Yeah.